Pam and Tommy was the re-exploitation of Pamela Anderson's trauma. If you Google Pamela Anderson right now, some of the first autocomplete results are Pamela Anderson marriage, Pamela Anderson kids, and Pamela Anderson miscarriage. If Google didn't remove sexually explicit autocomplete predictions, chances are Pamela Anderson sex tape would be on the list as well. Thanks to Hulu's recent Pam and Tommy miniseries starring Lily James and Sebastian Stan in the titular roles, the public's interest in Anderson's life has been reignited, especially surrounding the infamous release of her and then husband Lee's explicit homemade videos against her will. For the most part, Pam and Tommy is an accurate retelling of Anderson and Lee's story. It recounts how, in 1995, Rand Gauthier, a jilted electrician Lee fired, stole a safe from the couple's Malibu, CA, home after Lee refused to pay him for his services. Gauthier figured he could sell the valuables inside to recoup what he was owed, but he unwittingly came into possession of the couple's private videos of themselves having sex. He connected with a porn industry pal to start selling the tape and then commenced what's arguably the first sex tape scandal in Hollywood history. Anderson and Lee fought tooth and nail to stop the distribution of the tape in court but lost, and their sex tape ultimately became the best-selling sex tape in history at the time. Pam and Tommy doesn't ignore the violation of privacy the couple experienced as the world intruded on their most personal moments. In March, James, who plays Anderson in the series, told Variety this disturbing quality of Hollywood's fishbowl, how celebrities' lives and misfortunes are commodified and exploited, was something they wanted to explore with the show. I think these violations of privacy happen way too often, and the way that the media responds and us, as a society, respond is often so awful, particularly toward women. There are these huge double standards, women are torn down and reduced. So I think we really need to look at that, she said. But there's a lot of irony in that statement. While Pam and Tommy condemns the people who watched, copied, and redistributed Anderson and Lee's sex tape, director Craig Gillespie and everyone behind the project, including James, are essentially doing the same thing. Anderson didn't give her blessing to the creators to make the series, so it ultimately makes this project, which was positioned as the greatest love story ever sold, another exploitation of Anderson against her will. Once again, her most private and personal experiences are being dragged through a proverbial media frenzy, and it doesn't end at just the sex tape. For example, the show isn't an entirely honest recounting of Anderson and Lee's experience. Key events and details were changed for dramatic effect, the least offensive being the timeline of their marriage. They didn't get together on Anderson's birthday but rather on New Year's Eve in 1994, and the most offensive being the circumstances surrounding Anderson's miscarriage. Pam and Tommy bumps Anderson's miscarriage to take place amid the sex tape scandal when, in reality, the safe vanished in November 1995, and Pam miscarried 5 months prior. I'm not saying Pam and Tommy is a bad show. Sure, watching Stan talk to a prosthetic penis as the larger-than-life Lee is comical. If it had Anderson and Lee's stamp of approval, I might have felt less guilty about watching. But it wasn't approved. In fact, Anderson ignored James's request to chat, forcing James to resort to watching old interviews and Baywatch to nail down her portrayal.